Rangers are champions of Scotland, they're still in the Scottish Cup and they are going great guns in the Europa League as well. Is a treble on the way? Well, maybe. We're going to be delving into that in a second just today, but what Stevie has done is nothing short of a miracle. Where they were even a year or 2 years ago compared to where they are now, it's such a huge jump, and can't commend Stevie G enough for the great job that he's done at Rangers. I'm jumping on the Rangers hype at the moment. Please do remember that I am a neutral. I'm an English neutral football fan who lives in Scotland. And I'm a Liverpool fan when I'm in England, but when I'm anywhere else in the world, I am neutral, and I just want to cover all the football stories that I can. I cover them as they come up. Sometimes I research teams who have been around for hundreds of years and go and investigate them, but when things happen, I need to investigate and make videos about that. There's a lot happening with Rangers at the moment, with the league title, with the Europa League, so yeah, naturally I'm making a lot of Rangers content at the moment. I'm jumping on the Rangers hype. However, yeah, if something was happening with another team, another big team in Glasgow, let's say, I would also be making videos about that as well. So yeah, if you're a football fan and you like football from all around the world and stuff like that, then please do consider subscribing. Please also like this video as well before we delve into the facts about Slavia Prague and Rangers. Now, I've been to both stadiums, and when this draw got made, I knew I had to make this video. We're going to be looking around both grounds in this video. I'm going to be giving you some facts about the teams and yeah, delving a little bit into who I think is going to win, who to look out for, and what the form is like of both clubs. Right, so firstly, on to the stadiums themselves. So, Slavia Prague, or Slavia Praha, as I guess it's known out in the Czech Republic, play at the Cinebo Stadium out in Prague. I ran to their stadium. I stayed kind of near to the city centre, but I ran to their ground for a video back in March of last year. It's probably probably literally like a year ago today almost. It may have been a little bit before that, but yeah, since the first leg is in Prague, I thought we'd have a look at their stadium first. Famed for their ultras and their super support out there. They really do have a fanatical fan base in Prague. Both Prague teams, Slavia and Sparta, have huge support in the country, and the capacity in normal times of the Cinebo Stadium is around 20,000 people, and they've won 13 league titles in Czechoslovakian times before the country split in 1993 into Czech Republic and Slovakia. They have now won 6 leagues since then, so in total they have won 19 leagues from when, combined from when it was Czechoslovakia and now obviously just Czech Republic, and they've won a few cup competitions in both iterations of the country as well. And secondly, the stadium which will host the second leg, hopefully barring any weird COVID restrictions, is Ibrox, of course, the home of Rangers. Obviously, they've just been mathematically made the winners of this year's Premiership, meaning they moved from 54 to 55 league titles. That is the most in the world. Second is Linfield over in Northern Ireland, and third is Celtic, and then you get into some other big giants such as Olympiacos and Real Madrid later down that list of big league champions. Over 50,000 people can fit inside of Ibrox. Rangers have won a UEFA trophy before, the Cup Winners' Cup in 1972. They most recently got to the final of the UEFA Cup in 2008. They lost to Zenit in Manchester to former manager Dick Advocat. And so as part of this video, I will be going through One Football live on screen with you to go through the stats of both teams and to weigh up who I think is going to go through. So, right, if you want to download One Football, it's free and it's the first link in the description box below, and I can't recommend it highly enough. I'll be showing you today how good the app can be and how much information you can get from it. So today, we are looking at the game between Slavia Prague and Rangers, which is to happen tomorrow. And if we look at some of the facts before this game, so this will be Rangers' first ever meeting with Slavia Prague in European competition. They last faced Czech opposition in the 2002-03 season in the UEFA Cup first round. They went out and away goals to Victoria Zizkov, not a very well-known team at all. Despite winning all 3 of their home games against Czech opponents in European competition, Rangers have been eliminated in each such tie to Dukla Prague in 81-82, Sparta Prague in 91-92, and Zizkov, as we just said, in 02-03. So, even though, you might think Rangers are on form, Slavia Prague are from the Czech League, and maybe, Rangers have got a good chance of winning this one, they have never gone through against Czech opposition, according to the stats. Rangers will be the 3rd Scottish club Slavia Prague have ever faced in a major European competition. The previous two both progressed. St Mirren in the 1985-86 UEFA Cup first round and Hearts in 92-93. There you go, so Slavia Prague played St Mirren and Hearts in Europe. Slavia Prague have only lost one of their last 10 home matches in the UEFA Europa League. They've won 6 and drawn 3. A 1-0 defeat against Chelsea in the quarter-final match in April 2019 was their last defeat at home in the Europa League. Now that's quite amazing. They have quite an amazing home record. They obviously beat Leicester away in the last round and they drew at home, so they've got a really good record, even against teams like Leicester who are flying high in the Premier League. So even maybe without the fans in Prague, they're still a very strong home team. And we will be getting into Morelos in a little bit more detail later on, but Rangers forward Alfredo Morelos has directly been involved in 15 goals, 9 goals and 6 assists in 17 Europa League appearances since the start of last season, the most of any player. This season the Colombian has 3 goals and 5 assists in 8 matches. We'll be going into Morelos in a little bit more detail in a little while in this video, but yes, Morelos is basically their star man in the Europa League, isn't he, for Rangers? And while we've just looked into a few of the facts and the stats between the two teams and their kind of history in UEFA competitions and stuff, let's dive into each team individually. So, Slavia Prague. So firstly I want to take a look at their group. So on the app you can come into season and it will show you their Europa League group, where look, you can see there was a very strong group there with French and German opposition. Now they finished behind Bayern Leverkusen, who are obviously very strong in the German Bundesliga there, and Nice obviously had an absolute mare in the group for some reason, but you would expect that those two would probably have been the favourites to go through. Hapoel Beersheva as well from Israel, I don't think you could ever really expect them to go through, but fair play to Slavia, they didn't just scrape their way through, they finished 6 points ahead of third in getting to where they got and finishing second in their group. Now, if we look at their matches in the Europa League this season, they lost their first match against Israeli opposition Hapoel Beersheva, and then they had to beat Leverkusen, they had to beat Nice, they beat Nice again, they beat them twice, home and away, then they beat Hapoel Beersheva at home, then they got smashed against Bayern Leverkusen, when I guess they were already through, so they probably didn't have to play their strongest team in that game, but fair play, they lost their last and first game of the group, but won the 4 in between when it really mattered. And yeah, in the round of 32, the last leg, they drew at home to Leicester 0-0, and then they beat Leicester 2-0 away. So to keep clean sheets against Leicester, who are famed for their great attacking players at the moment with, you know, the Maddisons and the Barneses and all those kind of players, they kept 2 clean sheets against them. So yeah, they are not to be sniffed at, this opposition. I think they could be very strong in this tie against Rangers. And if we just look quickly at their stats per game, so they've scored 1.6 goals and conceded 1.2, and that's in the average per match in the Europa League. Their pass accuracy is 80% and their possession is around 52. They've won 5, drawn 1 and lost 2. Those 2 losses, of course, were in the group stage. Now on to Rangers, the team you're all probably here to see and hear about. Let's look at their group. Now, I think when this group got announced, you could have easily made Rangers, you know, not even favourites to go through. Look at the standard of opposition. Standard Liège, Lech Poznan and Benfica. The fact that Rangers got through, I think, is a huge achievement. The fact that they finished ahead of Benfica is amazing. Benfica are obviously a fantastic team out in Portugal. Even, you know, Standard Liège and Lech Poznan, to go to Belgium and Poland, they are hard trips. And yeah, fair play to Rangers for getting through that group and to do it as winners as well. Absolutely class. Now let's have a look at the games that they played in and see where the big results came. They initially beat Standard 2-0 away, fair play, good result. They beat Lech Poznan at home, they drew away to Benfica, and then they drew at home to Benfica. I think they were a little bit unlucky in a few of those matches, weren't they? I think they could have won 1 or 2 of them. But fair play, they went through the group unbeaten. They beat Standard at home 3-2, and then they beat Lech Poznan 2-0 away as well. And then look at the high scoring matches in the round of 32, a little bit different to the kind of tighter games that Slavia Prague played against Leicester. Rangers beat Antwerp 4-3 away, and they beat Antwerp 5-2 at home. That is insane. So if we then look at their stats, look at that. I mean, it's kind of worlds apart, isn't it? 2.8 goals per game and 1.5 conceded per game. That is in the Europa League. 6 wins, 2 losses. 6 wins, 2 draws, no losses. Passing accuracy 83%, possession 50%. Possession is kind of similar for both teams, but Rangers are obviously higher scorers than Slavia. So will we see the game between Slavia and Rangers be a tight one that Slavia would want, or will we see it being a high-scoring affair, which is what Rangers might want? It's kind of a coming together, a meeting of two teams that seem to have different styles and different ways of going about and winning matches. It's going to be an interesting matchup. And now, my player to watch for both ties. Now, OneFootball is great because you don't just have to find teams and leagues and get information on those. You can actually find players as well. Now, let's just look at the star man I think is going to be the star of the show of these two matches, Alfredo Morelos. He is the Europa League man, isn't he? Like we mentioned earlier in those earlier stats, the amount of goals that he's been involved in over his games in the Europa League after the last 2 years have been nothing short of, not a miracle, but they've been really good. They've been really impressive. Now, in the Europa League here, you can see his stats from this season. He's played 8 matches, he's scored 3 goals and got 5 assists, so, you know, he's been involved in at least a goal per game. If he continues that in the next 2 games against Slavia Prague, then who's to say they won't go through? Rangers, shot accuracy 92%, pass accuracy 84%. So yeah, I think Morelos is the man to watch over the tie. And yeah, we'll see if his great form can come to fruition against Czech opposition. And so I hope you enjoyed this video. We looked around both stadiums. I gave you a few facts about both clubs. Who do you think are going to win? Obviously, they're both 2 big clubs from their respective countries. What they've done in Europe over the past couple of years, or past 10, 20 years maybe, hasn't been amazing. Obviously, Rangers got to the final of the UEFA Cup. Rangers have won UEFA competition. Slavia Prague probably don't expect to go much further than this, and probably Rangers didn't forecast to go much further than this. Next round will be the quarterfinals, where there's still some big teams left in the competition that they could draw. United, AC Milan, Spurs, you know, there's some big teams left in the Europa League. Rangers fans, do you think you will go through of this tie? Czech fans, I know there's a few Sparta fans that probably are subscribed to my channel after my Sparta vids. Do you think that your rival Slavia will go through, or do you think, yeah, it will be Rangers? Do let me know in the comments below what you think about the game, score predictions, all that kind of stuff. I would love to know your thoughts. Please do remember to like this video and download OneFootball as well. It's completely free, and look at the stats that we got out for this vid. You can look into both teams, you can look into players, you can look into like past stats when the 2 teams are playing each other before the games. It really is an extensive football app, and you won't regret it if you download it. It's free and it supports my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave some videos around my head as ever, so you can keep watching my content, a playlist, and the subscribe button. Please do subscribe as well. I'm so close to 20,000 now. I want to hit it as soon as possible, going into the summer before the Euros and all that stuff, so you don't want to miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.